Well, UFC 264 has come and gone, not without its slew and share of crazy antics from the one and only Conor McGregor. And Drake, your boy went a little viral with an opinion I had a couple days after the fight. Uh, Tweet I sent out was the funniest thing about the fallout from UFC 264 is the amount of media, fighters, and fans who have turned on McGregor and said they are disgusted with his behavior. Were y'all just asleep for the dolly through the bus, him punching an old man, or calling Khabib's wife a towel? And I would have also added, or smashing the fan's phone, or talking about slaughtering Aldo's favela, right? And if you're unfit for work, killing you and stuff. And that came from a place of there are so many people, it seems, after this fight that are now turning on Conor, that were either silent when he was doing some of these other antics, or kind of brush it off, maybe said like condemned the specific antic a little bit, but then next Conor fight we're just right back in it, all in on him, acted like it didn't happen, or just kind of brushed off the other things as like, oh, he's going through some things or having some trouble with it. If now those people have turned into, oh man, I'm so disgusted with what he said about, Dustin's wife, and he's gonna, kill them in their sleep and all this other stuff. And, yes, Conor did typical bad guy heel Conor, which is talk a bunch of shit after he broke his ankle. And yes, he said some very terrible things, as he's done before. I can't understand why, other than the fact, right, that he's finally kind of lost again, and it seems like his star might be fading a little bit. That's the only reason why I could see that all these people are now turning on him and saying, oh, it's awful. Like, how could he say those things? Man, I'm not a fan of him anymore. Like, what? I even Dustin, said like, in the octagon, no holds bars, trash talk. He talked about that. And then he took it personally. You could tell, especially the stuff about his family. 100% understand that. But even he understands that a lot of it is a gimmick. In the pre-fight press conferences, he kept talking about how, like he's lost his aura, he's saying things, it doesn't sound the same. He knows that a lot of that trash talk is just Conor being Conor. And that also Conor might have a little bit of his real self in there too, right? So I just don't get it. I think it's hilarious. I guess I kind of understand it because his star is fading, so now people can more easily turn on him. But I don't understand how you can openly just be such a hypocrite with the way that you've treated this man for the past 6 years. 5-6 years, to then just turn on him like that and be like, oh, so disgusted. Like, I've got a lot of reaction on social media. A lot of people seem to agree with my thoughts. Drake, what is your take on this whole 264 McGregor comments fiasco, I guess?
Well, I think that, I agree with pretty much everything that you're saying. And it really is kind of funny, to say that this is the thing, the straw that broke the camel's back. Is that the phrase? But it hasn't been great, but it's not the first, bad things that he said. And I think that it really boils down to the fact that, he has been losing now. That's really the thing. And because it makes it look way worse. Like we saw the past times that he lost to Khabib, and he was still a poor sport about that when he was kind of talking shit still afterward, calling them rats and all that kind of thing.
Gotta do a post-fight brawl.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So there was that, and then I mean the Nate loss. That one, he at first, right? It was at first in like the post-fight press conferences immediately with Dustin and with Nate the first two times. He was all right about it, and then it's like he takes some time, thinks about it, and he just can't accept it. So until he tries to come back and avenge it. And for a while, and I think maybe not a while, but once he did end up coming back and fighting again, whether it was winning and being able to bottle up those feelings, you look at Cerrone, or just the fact that he didn't he wasn't that brash and outspoken about anything anymore because he was back on top in a position where he didn't need to gain attention by speaking so much. And you look at the Dustin buildup to the rematch, the initial rematch, which was in January, right? So I think that it's just the poor sportsmanship is on such a ridiculous level now. And we remember when in mid Khabib fight, he was like, "It's just business, man." Like, all right, buddy, I think that you're just kind of realizing, oh no, I might have got myself into something that I can't really get out of now. And we saw how that turned out. So now here we are. He is still full on with it. And I don't know. I think people are also, they're seeing that what is this going to achieve? Like you just lost twice. You had a serious injury. You're going to be gone for a while. Like this is just so incredibly pointless as it would have been anyway. Like it's just not necessary. But I don't really know what to say about it because it's like just in bad taste, and it's just not the first thing either. Like I feel like I'm repeating everything you've said already, man, but it's I don't know. I think the best point you can look at is the fact that he's lost has magnified how much worse it looks in terms of just him being able to accept the realities of combat sports and professional sports in general. And funny enough, Pat, which I'm sure you saw this, but maybe the one and only person who backed him up in all of this was arguably a worse sport than him and Miss Ronda Rousey. So they stick together, they do. But yeah, I think it comes down strictly to the fact that he hasn't won since Obama was president, right? that people are like, all right, Conor, what are you doing? But if you look back on it, you're completely right. He's done a lot of things that you should have jumped off the bandwagon for in the past. And Pat, you didn't even mention also the sexual allegations either. So
so I specifically I'm glad you brought that up because I specifically left that out simply because there was the New York Times report on it and no charges were brought. And I'm not saying that is always a tricky situation where you've got to walk a fine line with that because we've seen I think the most recent star that comes to mind is Ronaldo, right? Had that whole issue where had an allegation and then proof came out, like everybody was like, cancel Ronaldo, we're done with this. Then proof came out that she was lying. It was a whole thing. So I just leave that alone until there's actual charges and there's actual case and all that. And so that's still, there no charges have been brought against him. So I make what you will, take your own thoughts from the fact there were multiple allegations and all that. But I gotta kind of stay away from that one because there is clear-cut things he did, like punching an old man in the face on camera.
We saw it.
Where it's like, okay, let's just focus on that shit, right? We don't need to go into the like what-if scenarios. We could see the shit that you did. So it's it is one of those things where it's very possible. I would not be completely shocked at all by this if this is all just Conor being heel Conor, and it's all kind of just a game to him. I don't think that's the case, but if he ends up or somebody close to him ends up, they do a documentary on him in 20, 30 years and he talks about like, oh, I felt like I had to promote because I'd lost or something, it wouldn't shock me a ton. I feel like Conor has that ability to really make you question whether or not he's just doing something as a gimmick or that's really him. And that's just specifically with the words, right? And part of what he did in the pre-fight buildup. I feel like that's easier to see, right? Or you could kind of draw that conclusion. In the post-fight, though, it was clear that he was just very, very upset. And whether or not he was leaning into that gimmick, then it becomes a lot less believable to me. That makes me think instead he's just very upset. He's mad because he's not on top anymore. He's trying to keep it alive in some form or fashion. But I will, if you make that argument, I will, for the sake of pity, I will let you have a sliver of doubt that it's possible this is all just him doing a spiel. But I don't even want to focus on Conor that much, because the main thing and the main reason I sent out that opinion was because fans are going to fan. Fair weather fans, or just, fans, it happens. Fighters, same type of thing, right? You should know a little bit better, but okay, it's fine. But the media who did this is where it's like, your job is to cover the sport through at least somewhat of an objective lens. You and I both know in MMA media that it is rare you get someone that is truly objective looking at most MMA news or interviews or opinions. It just doesn't happen. A lot of us are fans at heart. But you've got to at least have some semblance of objectivity or decorum, because that's your job. And the amount of bigger name media people I saw now turn on Conor after this was like, what? Like, this is why, like, that's what really gets me, is because as media, I believe you should be held to a higher standard, right? That you are getting paid to give your opinion. In some cases, you're getting paid as a full-time job to give your opinion and write articles and inform fans. And for you to ignore or gloss over, rather, because I'm sure everybody reported on it, but to gloss over it and be kind of all matter-of-fact newsy about him throwing a dolly through a bus that got several fights canceled on that card, as well as could have like permanently injured Chiesa's eyes, because glass got in Chiesa's eyes. And then the, punching the old man at the bar, where again, a lot of these bigger sites just reported the news, like Conor McGregor in hot water did this, like, that's it. No opinion pieces, no nothing. Now you're going to come out with an opinion piece and say, oh, well, now, that behavior, like what you were saying to Dustin was just that was disgusting, man. Like, really? Just, I can't, man. No wonder so many fans are like, fuck the MMA media. No wonder. Like,
yeah, the funny thing too is, like, why not be, or at least acknowledge it earlier on at these times? Like, there's what everyone talks about, the fear of access, right? It is an access driven sport in terms of coverage, and live coverage anyway, right? But there's no point to have not felt morally the ways that we all are now, right? For the most part, no one seems to agree with this aside from one person, as I said. Like, it is very funny how it has worked out this way. And again, I think it just turns to the losing factor and making that look way worse than, it was all funny and cool when he was winning and able to back it up. Now he's just a super douche. Like,
yeah. Oh, my favorite is like, oh, well, he was just younger and had antics. Dude, what are you talking about? He's almost 32. He did this shit like right as he turned, 30, or a little bit before he turned 30. Like, what? Or no, that's the same age as me. I'll tell you right now that, like, I'm not going out like punching people in bars and being like, oh, it's cool, man. I'm younger, man. Yeah.
Have you also seen the potential excuse of this is for like the tweets afterward, which I don't even know if we've mentioned from yesterday, where his old tweet and delete spree,
yes.
Mentioning or taking the pictures of Dustin's daughter and all of that from Dustin's profile. He didn't take pictures himself, he's in the hospital, right? But people are saying, oh, he's all drugged up because of the leg pain and all that. But, he was still talking a bunch of shit right after it happened, literally right after his leg broke. So that's not a valid excuse, because he was doing the same thing, while he was in the octagon. So,
yeah, no, it's defending his behavior at this point is like, and I've seen in the responses to my tweet, I've seen some defenses of like, oh, I don't care, we ride with him, we go to war with him no matter what. It's like, all right, man, like, That's not a good look.
Know you, bro.
Right. Yeah, he doesn't give, I'm sure he doesn't give a shit about you, and you look real dumb. But okay, man. Like, all right, that's, you do you. But it's just mind-boggling. Again, and funny to me. I'm not shocked that a bunch of fans did it. I'm not shocked that even a fair amount of fighters did it. I shouldn't be shocked that amount of media did it, because again, as you mentioned, this is an access sport where you say the one wrong thing and chop, you just, media credentials could possibly be gone.
But even Dana isn't liking this, though, is the thing.
And that's the thing, is, and maybe that's what some of the media is seeing, is they're seeing like, Dana's opinion. It's like, oh, okay, here we go. Dana's opened the door. In which case, there you go. That's probably, a good portion of why people are doing this in the media. But I will just say, if you have written a opinion piece that goes into how, gross his behavior has been, and how it's he's really turned for the worse, right? Because he was nice the last two fights. Well, as you mentioned, Drake, he was under investigation for sexual assault, and we weren't really allowed to ask about it. So wonder why he could have been nice. And so if you were someone who, and I doubt they will see this video, but if they do and they know who they are, that you wrote an opinion piece that essentially like talked about how disgusting their behavior was, or how it was such a shame and all this stuff, and you didn't write anything about literal assaults that we have on camera, not just words and talking, like just assaulting the elderly for one, then I just gotta say, you should look in the mirror and really take a look at what you're doing from a journalism standpoint. And if you're okay with it, well, all right, you're okay with it. But man, you should at least just evaluate it, because it's just
where
ridiculous.
You been?
Yeah, where have you been? Where have you been? Have you been asleep? Have you been just, drunk? I don't know. I have no idea. But
casuals, they just jumped onto the MMA.
Yeah, I mean, of course. No. It's just, I couldn't take it, man. I just can't take it. It is what it is. All right. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe button, bell notification. Let us know your thoughts on the situation. Do you agree with Drake and I about this entire ridiculousness? Do you think that Conor, has legitimate reasons for acting the way he does? I've seen some people, hint at a couple reasons. I'd like you guys to elaborate on, because maybe I don't understand them fully, or we're not, cognizant of all the factors. We're missing something. So if that's the case, let us know. I want to hear from you. I always want to hear from a differing opinion. Let us know your thoughts on that. And, with that in mind, Drake, I just hope that in 6 years, when Conor McGregor comes back to fight Nick Diaz, that we'll at least have a little bit more of a clear lens on what's happening. You know what I'm saying?
That would be nice. That'd be very nice.